Hello, my lovely people, welcome back. How many hours do you work every single day? I'm sure it should be more than 9 hours or less than 9 hours. How many hours do you sleep every single day? Eight, seven, eight, nine? How many hours do you spend with your family? Four, five? See, 16 already gone. Now you have another eight. What are you going to do with that? How many time do you spend with your kids or your family? How many time do you work out? How many hours do you spend for your health? The question is this. Today we work in a place or we work in a world where we're distracted with technology all the time that we forget to give enough time for our body. We tend to forget the fact that we need to give enough time for the brain to rest. We live in a world where if I spend 2 or 3 hours without any work, I feel guilty that I'm not productive. I have to be productive 24/7. When I'm traveling, I have to listen to audiobooks, or when I go to gym, I have to listen to music. And we see people are always engaged with something that they give a lot of work to brain, and they keep the brain active all the time. Now, if you see biologically, if you see what happens is there is a fluid, it's identified in a recent research that says that there is a fluid in our body which refreshes all the bone. And they've recently identified this fluid is also linked from spinal cord to your brain, which refreshes your brain all the time. It's like you have a sponge and you put in some water on it, and then the sponge that absorbs all the water. That's the fluid that happens only if you sleep, only if you give time for your brain to rest. And that happens only if the brain is not active, when it's not doing any job, when you're not thinking about anything. That happens in the unconscious level. So here's what happens. Most of us think that we have to work hard to get to the place where we want to reach, or to reach our goals or visions or dreams. We put in a lot of efforts every single day, and we tend to forget the fact that we're not giving enough time for the other four elements, or four important elements in our life. What are they? Mental, physical, health, and social. These are the four main elements that we need to focus in our life. When I say mental, I mean, are you giving enough rest for your brain? And when I say physical, are you working out every single day? Are you doing yoga, or are you doing some kind of physical activity uh, where you keep your body in a way that it sweats a lot in a day? And when it sweats, what happens? You also produce dopamine in your brain, and dopamine is a fluid, or it's an enzyme that gives you happy hormone. It's called as a happy hormone. And you so that's the physical part. And the third and the most important one is spiritual. Are you meditating? Are you giving your mind that stillness? Every single day you think about something, or are you giving that time where the mind doesn't think about anything? Have you focused on your breath? Have you focused for at least 5 minutes? Can you try now? Pause the video and then put your outside world, just pause it, everyone. Go into a quiet room and sit and see what is happening in your mind. Just see when you breathe, how many thoughts are going inside your mind. Have you tried that? Have you tried being spiritually enlightened people? That's not going to happen in a day or two, it'll take a long time, but have you tried it? So, have you putting enough effort that you have to be spiritually well enough? The fourth and the most important one is, are you really social? Are you spending enough time with your friends? Are you spending enough time with your family, your loved ones? Are you giving them enough time? So these are the four questions that really have to be asked and to be answered to know where we stand in terms of our life. Because we tend to see that the social status, or the people who are surrounded with, and we see they are growing, and they see other person and they are growing, and it's a vicious circle where all sees that they are trying something, I have to do something. They are reaching somewhere, everybody is happy without me, everybody is reaching their goals, everybody is getting married soon, everybody has a girlfriend, boyfriend. What is happening in my life? We tend to lose the fact that it's okay, it's nothing to worry. But if you put in enough efforts for your mental, physical health, and your social elements for your life, everything comes to you automatically. And for that to happen, you have to balance yourself. You don't have to work too hard. Even famous people, even popular people, or the people who have achieved a lot in their life, successful people, let's take Edison, Albert Einstein, and Einstein, they all have their own time where they rest from the actual work that they do. Even Edison actually loves to sail, it seems. He takes his boat and goes for a long sail and comes back. Nobody knows about that. We only keep talking about Edison's invention, what are the patents that he has, but we never tend to teach the people what he does apart from work and what made him do that journey for a long time. Because he spends a lot of time with other stuff, he was able to maintain that research for a long time. He was able to produce a lot of patents because he did a lot of other works apart from work. So Edison, and then if you come to Charles Dickson, these are the people who had some kind of research in the scientific part. I forgot what Charles Dickson did, but what's the important thing about Charles Dickson is he goes for a long walk every now and then. When he is doing a lot of work, he pauses everything, he stops everything, puts on hold, and then he goes for a long walk. Even Bill Gates does that. Bill Gates goes to island or somewhere. He says that he will completely come out of his work, his business, and he goes completely 1 week. He takes 4 or 5 books and he sits in an island or in a place where he's completely isolated from the world, and then he spends his time sleeping, eating, reading, no social collaboration, only for him. That's the time that they refuel themselves. So you deserve a lot of refueling every single day. If they all deserve it, I'm sure we all deserve it. You all deserve it, because it's necessary that we have to refuel ourselves. It actually reminds me of the fact how muscles work. If you go to a gym or if you're someone who works out, you should definitely research about this. What happens when you lift weight is your muscles get contracted, and what happens when you go out of the gym and that night when you sleep 2 or 3 days, the muscle slowly starts to expand. It slowly starts tearing out. Muscle tearing happens, and it doesn't mean that the muscle is actually tearing, it's actually expanding. You give that time of resting for that muscle, only then it happens. And you keep working out every single day, what will happen? The muscle just contracts and it will never grow. It'll crush, and that will cause you a lot of other troubles. If you're someone who's working out, you should definitely check this out. And that's the reason they do work out in a way that they go from body to toe or toe to head. And because that's a cycle you give, because when you do, let's say if you're doing biceps, and biceps you do for on Monday, and you do the next day you do for chest, and then the next day you do for your legs, and the next day when you come to biceps, it's actually a long gap, and in that time the biceps muscle would have grown. Likewise, it happens in our mind, in our physical, in our spiritual. Everything happens in a way that if you give enough rest, you get the complete benefit out of it. So think about it, and I'd like you to let you know you have to take enough rest. Don't do too much work. Have some kind of a peaceful work where you refuel yourself. Try something that you've never tried for a long time, but you really wanted to do. Maybe you wanted to try to go for a dancing class. Maybe you wanted to sit and paint. Maybe you sit and sketch something, or you love to do craft works, or you've been thinking about reading a book for a long time, but because of your busy schedule, you keep skipping that book. This is the right time for you. Take enough breaks. It's okay to take breaks. Sit back and relax and refuel your brain, and you will come back bigger, you'll come back stronger, because you deserve it. Right? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Bye for now.